about the neighborhood revitalization plans that you may have, including not only the building improvements, but what could the city do to invest in the people in those targeted neighborhoods?
Yes, as far as our neighborhood revitalization program, I mean, I've focused on a few areas. Housing is obviously one of those critical components because you know, housing is what makes up our neighborhoods, and so we need a combination really of rebuilding our housing stock in certain areas. There are certain areas of the city where the housing stock is basically it's you know, aged to the point where it needs to change, and so whether that's again through new housing programs or rehabilitation programs, I think that has to be a big part of it. And we have programs in place. I would like to do more with, again, our larger institutions investing in our neighborhoods and partnering with our nonprofit groups, partnering with the city to try to provide those housing or additional housing. And I think that's something, again, as mayor, that I would really like to pursue. Crime is also an issue in certain parts of the neighborhood, and we really need to work on that. And again, I'm a big believer in the community policing model where neighborhoods and the police work together. They build a relationship over time, and they just work better together as a team. And what ends up happening, of course, if the police are out walking the beat, they're out of their patrol cars more often, they get to know the neighbors, and that helps to reduce crime and address crime. And then as far as investing in our people, we've got many workforce development partners. We have obviously, you know, 3 institutions of higher learning who are creating, you know, graduates with great skills. And for those that we want to keep, those graduates that we want to keep here in the city, we should be looking at any kinds of programs, incentives. I mean, maybe there's opportunities to partner with our large employers and offer ways to you know, pay off student loans if students will agree to live here in La Crosse for a period of time. I mean, I think there's all kinds of things that we just haven't explored that we should, and that's a big part of the neighborhood program that I'd like to bring as mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Parker.
For 22 years, I've been the chairman of the city's Housing Rehab Committee, which is the primary committee responsible for neighborhood preservation, revitalization. I would tell you that if we give people good, safe places to live, to sleep, and to raise their families, that's quite an investment in them, because you give them something to them that every person wants. Now, I have proposed that when TIF number 4 expires, we exploit a state statute or utilize it, which we could potentially get $3 million going in that direction. Every time I mention that, Mr. Cabot says we'll only build so many homes. That's the housing replacement program, which that committee was also responsible for. But the housing rehab program will multiply the dollars like there's no tomorrow, because that's new windows, it's siding, it's roofing, lead paint on the inside, and you can get significant improvements for the money that we can spend. And then all that money comes back to the taxpayer. There's not one penny that is gone forever. It all comes back to the taxpayer. Also, I have suggested that we have a 311 system for reporting nonviolent crimes. That's key. I live in those neighborhoods. People in those neighborhoods do not want to call, many people do not want to call 911 with a nonviolent crime. A nonviolent crime which degrades a neighborhood is public urination, public consumption, excessive noise, cars blocking the alley, all those things that degrade a neighborhood so quickly, and they do. I always think public urination is the worst because the evidence remains. Okay, then that was phase 1 and 2, and now to just tease you, phase 3 this week later on.
Well, a couple of things. I mean, the neighborhood revitalization program that he's referring to, the $3 million, is actually $1 million of tax increment financing funds. If you look at the city's housing replacement program, it costs $200,000 to build a new house. That's 5 new homes. Again, it's a great start, but you know, we have a ways to go. I believe, again, working with the police department on community policing rather than creating a whole new, you know, 311 system or whatever it is, because our police already are stretched to the limit. So a new system just is going to add to that.
Next question comes from Chris Hardy.
I'm going to take my 30 seconds. This is my milieu. Housing replacement, I told you he suggests that. I can get, let's see, doing the math, 10, 15 times the number of the houses he's talking about using the housing rehab program. We have lots of houses that don't need to be demolished and have housing replacement. Lots of houses that we can do and improve haven't had enough money, let me add it.